I love business books. I love nonfiction. I love reading books about my health, about personal finance, about technology, anything I feel like can be useful and I can take things away from. And this isn't just for books. I love to consume content that I feel like can be educational, that I can benefit from. For example, when I'm watching YouTube videos, often they're about the news or the economy or technology. I always try to find value in the content I'm consuming. So when it comes to books, I've always struggled with finding interest or value in fiction. But things have changed recently, and I'd like to share with you my mindset shift and why I am trying to read more fiction and why I think you should try to read more fiction. And there are 3 reasons to this. So the first reason is that we all as humans need entertainment. We need it. And to me, books, specifically fiction books, are the better kind of entertainment or the least bad kind of entertainment compared to other options. Let me explain. First off, there's no screen involved. So that's something on a health level, just taking a break from screens, I think is very powerful. And this is a form of entertainment, a rare one that you can do on demand easily alone, like TV shows and screens, which we have so readily available. So it has the same level of access without being as detrimental, in my opinion. It's also less imposed in the sense that when you're watching a movie or a TV show, you're really interpreting it kind of like the director wants you to. There's obviously room for you to interpret certain actions by certain characters in certain ways, but often for movies and TV shows, the director has a vision that is being transmitted to us. There's not much room for interpretation. Books, on the other hand, demand such intense creativity and imagination, and there are so many different ways certain chapters or passages or descriptions can be viewed from person to person. And I think in those ways, books are a superior form of entertainment. Are they what I go to every time? Absolutely not. But I am trying to read more fiction for that exact first reason. Next, and this kind of comes out with what we were saying about that imagination piece, fiction books help you work on your creativity and your imagination. I have my notes here, that's why I'm looking down. But fiction books specifically are an art that's highly personal. So when I'm reading about a character, yes, the author might be describing what they look like, what the character's doing, and things like that. But there's a lot of things that I have to imagine. And there's science behind this. This isn't just an anecdote. Your brain has to piece things together and read between the lines. And that's something that's specific to reading fiction books. Also, I think books are very powerful in the way that they let you weave your personal experience into what you're reading. And this happened to me recently in a murder mystery that I read called The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I have been to Paris and I've had experiences in Paris. And so when I'm reading this book and I'm reading about certain avenues or experiences, I am weaving into that book my personal experience in that city. And this gets poetic, right? It's art at the end of the day. But I think that's something that helps me work on my creativity and imagination when I'm reading a book too. Lastly, and this is also science-backed, fiction books really help you work on your empathy because you're reading about other characters and you're getting an inside look into people's brain, how they're thinking, and they're fictional people, but they're based off of real people or they're written in a way that's pretty realistic usually. And to me, empathy is a muscle. It's like you're working it out by reading fiction. And it's one of the most low-stakes, powerful ways to practice your empathy, in my view. So we all need entertainment. It's a better form of entertainment. It works for creativity and imagination. And then third, I think books, in a very, very powerful way, support better focus and attention in a world that has been deprived of that. I'm not the first to tell you there is an attack on our focus, on our attention, and it's not just attention spans, it's not just short form content. The comfort that our society has gotten us used to instant gratification, to seeking short-term versus long-term goals and improvements, and we just want to see immediate results, and our focus has suffered because of it. And books with their descriptive passages, specifically in fiction, where you're taking a pause and contemplating something for a while, and the author is talking about a single person, a single object for multiple pages. Those passages, those contemplative passages, even in fast-paced books, in my view, remain much more elongated than any movie or any TV show where something's just going to pass on the screen. And in our distracted world, this is a contrarian thing to do, where you're training yourself to be more patient, to be more contemplative. And it's poetic, it's beautiful in a sense. And I think that's unique to fiction books. And so those are the 3 reasons I'm trying to get into fiction. Now, let me tell you about how I have gotten into fiction, in case it helps you, if you're convinced now and you want to explore it, if you're wondering what books you should read or how you should do it. So I started with whodunits, sort of murder mystery books. And the reason for that is that I used to like them in school before. So you want to really embrace your curiosity, your natural curiosity, your inner child when you're deciding what to read now as an adult. So that's the first thing. And next, you want to base it off of what you like to consume already. So I really like watching movies that make me think, or TV shows that have some drama element to them, where I'm theorizing and things like that. And so based off of me liking that kind of TV show and movie, I have decided to read this book. There's almost always a literary equivalent to what you're consuming in other form, and fiction is a world with so many possibilities. Third, and lastly, for how to get into fiction, if you are convinced, is you want to start with a page turner, which will help you transition to this world of fiction. Especially if you're like me, if you're used to nonfiction books, business books, where it's key takeaways and it's research being explained. We're used to sometimes skimming things if things get repetitive, because that's how it works in business and nonfiction. Authors repeat things, they want longer page counts, whatever it is. And so we're used to skimming. But in fiction, that's not how it works. If you skip a part, you're losing the story and you can't continue. And so what I recommend is you start with a fast-paced book where it's like known to be a page turner, and that'll ease the transition. I actually asked ChatGPT at the time, and it was a great recommendation engine. I told it, like, I like to watch this kind of content. I want it to be fast-paced so I can transition to something. What do you recommend? And that's when it recommended Lucy Foley, and I loved it. I read the guest list. You can look this up. It did pretty well. I think they're going to make a movie out of it. I read The Paris Apartment, both so good. And I read a book by Ruth Ware. Anyway, to conclude, I still probably read one fiction book for 10 nonfiction. Once you're used to that kind of book, it's hard to start reading fiction and have the patience for it. But I am trying to consciously make an effort to read more fiction because I have seen the benefits, and I hope you found these insights helpful. Please let me know what you think in the comments. First off, do you agree or disagree with me? Secondly, are you a big fiction reader? Please let me know why you love fiction. Or are you like me, sort of a nonfiction geek nerd? You want value out of everything, and do you think I've convinced you? I'm very curious to get your take. Also, if you are one of those people who rarely read fiction, what fiction have you read? What has convinced you and why? Please do tell me. And tell me if you agree with me on these topics we talked about: the attention, the focus, the creativity, the imagination, all of it, the empathy. Those were my 2 cents, and that's why I'm trying to read more fiction. Thanks for watching.